All right. All right. So I'm here making this video in response to the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Yes, I am here to respond to that. I'm going to talk about that. And pretty much the only thing that fueled my response to this is the fact that I saw, as the news of this was reported, I saw social media pages saying, where people were saying, oh, we're happy about this. Or I saw people post, we don't have empathy for this and all that. And I just, whether you liked him or not, I just felt like I needed to respond to people cheering for the death of somebody, because that, I just don't feel right about people doing that. I feel like that lacks some sort of dignity and respect that you need to have when something like this happens. And I have a whole response ready, so here here it goes. So we all know about Charlie Kirk being murdered at his campus event just yesterday, September 10th, 2025. I wanted to speak what happened. I wanted to speak against what happened really as a response to the social media pages I saw comment that they are happy this happened. To me, it felt like they were cheering on death. It just puts me off and makes me feel like this country is not okay. Like, you don't have to like the guy, you don't have to agree with him at all. I personally agreed with him on a lot and would have loved to meet with him one day and debate him one day. That was something I like legitimately wanted to do one day. Just travel, just, if it didn't happen in my city, just travel to a campus or a place where he was holding one of his events. I would have loved to talk with the guy. And now that can't happen. But as the news reported this, like the within a few hours at least, because this was right after it happened, right away I saw like left wing social media pages jumping right on to say they're happy this happened. And I've heard since that people don't have empathy for them. And I mean, you can feel about somebody however you want to. You didn't have to personally know him. It might be easier if you didn't personally know him to not feel any type of way about this. But to cheer on the death of somebody solely because he spoke his mind on things you didn't agree with, and because he was an influence at a successful level that could restore this country to values he thought was right. To me, you're just cold, and you might as well be as evil as the person who murdered him. Like, my thing is, as political and social as I am, take politics out of it for a moment. This Charlie Kirk was 31 years old. He was 2 years younger than me. I was born in 92. He was born in 93. And he was a 31-year-old husband, father. He was a son, maybe even a brother. I don't know his family life, but like, I don't know if he had siblings, but he could have. And he was just murdered in broad daylight at his own event. And the people at that university allowed it to happen. The people of that state, the public, they allowed it to happen. He had fans there already. So like, he was already welcomed into that state. and he was just only a year or two younger than me, and he was just murdered in broad daylight. And I feel like he left behind a lot more than what I currently have. Just to see somebody in my generation be murdered and taken out like that, just because some people didn't agree with what he had to say, is wrong to me. He left behind a wife, a widow, children without a father. I don't even know if either of his children are 5 years old yet. He put his family in the complete opposite environment that he would ever want his family and any American family to be raised in. Um, his wife is now a widow and a single mother, and his children now grow up without a father. Um, he was pretty clear on what what a lot of people in America would call like the nuclear family idea, but he really had that going for him, and then his life was just taken at random, suddenly, unexpectedly, and now a family is pretty much forced to live the complete opposite way that they would have if he were still here today. Yes, I'm also reading from what I wrote out, so give me some time. I said all that, but I still have empathy for them. Like, I personally did not know the guy, but I have empathy for some of the values he held, because I completely agree with him on Christianity. I agree with some of the conservative values. I understand why he said what he said about how a family should be brought up, and the murderer, took that away from him and his entire family. And murderer as what you are, I only name you as that in this entire thing. You have set up a chain of events in America that will cause more of what you did, but it will also have God's silver lining, because more people who think like Charlie Kirk did will become public and carry on the legacy and carry that torch that you thought you were going to get rid of, but actually just ignited more. Because everyone else who thinks like him will just continue to carry on the legacy that he left behind. And I say this because I share his American views, pro-American views. I especially share his Christian points of view as well. When I first was taught all the political things and social things I'm into now, I was taught about American law and our Constitution and the founding of this country. I was taught American law and advocating for the foundation of this country before I got into anything else. And now, since this happened, even me saying stuff like this makes me feel like I shouldn't, because I guess now anyone could be a target. I guess anyone just speaking their mind, trying to promote the civil discourse, this could happen to anybody now? Just for speaking their mind on issues in the country that not everyone's going to agree with. We expect that. But a positive influence can just be targeted and taken out by what I assume is their opposition? Now, I know he was at a more popular, famous, successful, level, but now it's just concerning that anybody who thinks like him, or anybody who thinks like this, whether they're recording a video of it or not, could be considered a problem in society, and then you're going to be assaulted or murdered or have threats against you, because that all happened to him. Like, I know people didn't see him as a positive force, and I don't know if he was positive, negative, or neutral. I'm open to being ignorant here. But I just don't see the bigotry and toxicity that people who disagree with him saw. I don't see the toxicity that the left sees, and I definitely don't agree with the left anymore. That's a whole nother video for another day. But I saw him more of as just a positive influencer, because he didn't actually advocate violence or bigotry. He had his own point of view, most likely from his upbringing, just like all of us. Think about that, just like all of us. We all have some points of view and biases that we're never getting rid of because of how we were brought up. And then you condemn and murder this guy because he had that? He debated and discussed with people, even people he disagreed with, openly and with peace. That's why I say positive influencer, because he was. Because he didn't actually advocate violent, bad intent towards anybody. He knew he would meet people who lived a life that his religious views told him, I'm not supposed to agree with that. I'm not supposed to think that's a proper lifestyle. But I did see him accept people like that into his party, into being conservative even, with open arms. And he welcomed them and talked to them just fine. Like, all his videos are fucking up there. It seemed like he was just wanting to bring back civil discourse to America instead of all this political and social divide. You should be murdered for what you say. I'm going to celebrate your death because I don't like you. It seems like he just wanted the peaceful discourse back. That was one of his agendas. I chose the wrong word there, but yeah, I know I didn't personally know him, but I feel like I got a defense for him like I did. But I do personally hold his Christian viewpoint, though, and I'm not shy about that. Anyone who knows me knows I'm not. I personally agree with a lot of his conservative points of view I hear from him and others. I'm really only responding like this because I got pissed off from seeing people say they are happy about his death, which was a murder, which was an assassination, as the Utah police called it when they addressed that it happened. That's what I'm really pissed off about. That's the only reason I spent hours writing this text and recording this video that I feel like I'm both fucking up on. Because I'm just mad at the people saying they're happy someone's dead and was murdered, and they're cheering on somebody's death. That makes me feel bad for this entire country. That makes me feel like conservatives are right when you go ahead and cheer on the murder of somebody. Like, of course I'm gonna start attacking the left here, because where else do I think that type of attack would come from? Those Democratic left-wing media pages, which I saw with my own eyes within the hour this news was being reported. Like, I don't blame the murder on the Democrats. I suspect anyone from the left to any type of American institution he was a threat against might have done this, but I can't prove who or what did this myself. I just know the news I saw and what happened. It looked like a hit, but I can't say it's from the American education system. I can't say it's from the Democrats alone. It's all just conspiracy theory bullshit until I know what actually happened. But it's clear from what I saw that the shooter, Charlie, was a specific target for the shooter. Like, that shooter had something against Charlie Kirk and wanted him out of the way for one reason or another. Like, that's clear to me because of how it happened. And as I've already seen, the moment that this news was reported, I've already talked about the Democratic media and social media pages cheering this on. I've already talked about how I feel like the shooter was definitely on an opposing side from him, and they specifically targeted him. And Charlie Kirk has talked about being assaulted in public and having death threats against him prior to this. But I also feel like the left will cheer this on like they did when Trump was shot at. The left will cheer this on like they did when Luigi shot the CEO of a healthcare company. They'll cheer this on. The left will cheer this on like they did when they were setting Tesla's cars on fire because they disagreed with Elon Musk. They destroyed other people's property. They supported violence. They support murder even now, as we can see. So much for you being a party of peace and tolerance. You seem to only be against violence when you're not the party doing it. Democrats aren't against violence when they do it. When it's against their opposition, you seem pretty chill with it when you are the ones doing this. Fact is, you're just wrong to cheer any type of violence. I know it's the way of our animal nature. I know it seems to be the way of human nature. But that doesn't mean it's the right way to be. Maybe we need to rethink how we've been acting this entire time. I mean, I'm talking about a guy who was just murdered yesterday and defending that same guy who publicly professed faith in Jesus Christ. Maybe it's time our civilization started to actually act like Jesus Christ for a real change in our ways. And I'm a Christian myself. But you cheering on the death of somebody else is not a Christ-like way. You supporting somebody being murdered because you disagreed with them in points of view. Hell, even if they didn't like who you were because of who you are as a person, because of your skin color. Fact is, you murdering them, or you supporting the person who murdered them, you supporting their death, does not seem to me to be a Christ-like way. So maybe you need to rethink your left points of view and see what the conservatives are actually talking about. Because you can post a bunch of tweets of his, you can quote him, yeah, you can do this and this, you can say Charlie Kirk said this and that 6 months ago, a year ago, 4 years ago, whatever, but when I see those posted in just meme and real form, I'm just going to think you took what he said out of context and you didn't actually understand where that person was coming from. You're just using soundbite information for why you feel justified in cheering on somebody else's murder. I don't know. He might not have agreed that everybody's lifestyle was the appropriate way to live because of the way he was brought up with his conservative views and religious views, but at the same time, there's also many aspects of both his political and religious view that are right and should be taught and promoted in this country. I, however, am somebody I'm also doing things that he wouldn't agree is an appropriate lifestyle. Like, I'm not like, I'm not a lot of the people he's talking about, but me being a Christian alone, if I were to talk with Charlie Kirk right now and debate him like I one day wish I could have. Like, I'm a drunk, I'm a stoner, I'm a chain smoker, I do a bunch of shit that, like, conventional Christians think you probably shouldn't. And maybe I should be murdered just like he is too then. Honestly, in most ways, fuck what I'm saying, but I'll end on this. Both citizens and the politicians, from left to right, independent, we need to unite together on both the issues of gun control and mental health in America. We need to come to an understanding of how every side thinks about it. We need to come to a middle ground that at least appeases everybody. And other than that, in my conclusion, which is the entire reason I did this over 20-minute video, stop cheering for when someone dies for any reason, really. Take your personal beliefs out of this situation right now and notice that there's a grieving family right now while we all give into this political and social divide agenda that is set against all the people of this country. How about we actually be like Jesus for once and go help a stranger? A family that consists of a widow and 2 small children right now. Become the America I once thought we were and taught that we always were.